We are live. We are live. We are back for another Monday. We missed you guys the
Hibernation.
last couple Mondays. We've been hibernating / busy for another Monday. Yeah, you gotta turn that down.
Oh, I was quick on the draw. Not quick enough,
Yeah,
but
close. So you've been busy building a truck, and you finally got to drive it.
yeah. Um, I think I've built real trucks quicker. I have. I've built real trucks real quicker and driven them before I got this truck done. But it turned out
Yeah,
good, good enough,
it did.
and it performed good. So that was a
Where is
fun
it?
week. So looking at me, the trail scratches are just shimmering in this
We
nice.
got to see it. We got to see the trail scratches.
Well, actually,
Nobody, if you don't follow you on Instagram or follow the fan page, you would not have seen this even painted yet. So
yeah. So the biggest scratch is there on the door. Is that even a show? Man, I don't know.
yeah, just a little bit.
Okay, so there's a scratch, pretty good one there. Then there's a couple of dents right here and a broken handle. But the dent in the handle's from a show and shine hit and run, which I was thrilled about. So
I bet you were.
I
Basically,
actually,
somebody's kid was having a better time than you were.
yeah. So they had a crawler sumo event. And I don't know if he knew that that was over with yet. That's the only thing I could think of. But I just kind of looked at the guy next to me, and he was looking at me crazy, like, oh. And then I was like, I'm just gonna pick this up. So,
Yeah,
or he was trying to sabotage. He knew this was gonna win, so he was like, all right, if I take this guy out, these are my best odds.
right. Get him out of here.
Yeah, get him out of here. But yeah, no, it turned out good. Tons of looking at the underside when people came to the booth because it's a little bit odd,
Yeah,
considering most of our stuff. I do still got some. I got one piece I need to kind of beef up. I broke that. I took it on the U4 track, and I'm pretty sure I broke it doing the whoops at high speed. Because you got to see the IFS do its thing. So you'll have some wear and tear. I'm not too worried about it. That
right.
probably took me about 15 minutes in Fusion to mess with. But all in all, everything held up. I had some. So let's see if I still have that link here. Maybe not. I might have chucked it. Um, the little ball ends that Element uses, not great on a servo with like 1,000 inch-pounds of torque or whatever. It's not a fan. So
Yeah,
I was replacing I think I replaced two of them. No big deal. I think I'm gonna go through the entire steering system and just cut a piece of M4 rod and just do 5347 links all throughout. I think that
yeah.
should hold, but we'll see.
Looks good. It turned out really good. I'm glad you got the windows in it because that would have looked bad without it.
Yeah, well, I was
And
happy
the
with the
lenses.
lenses. Yeah, the lenses turned out great. Um, Pretty much. I mean, to be honest, I think they're the best of my ability as far as painting. And I will say I was a bit rushed, but you know, it'll be all right. I had a couple people come up to me and they're like, "Man, I thought that was Lexan," and I was like, "Nope." And they're like, the fact that's 3D printed is another level because I mean, there's some seams. I mean, I know where the seams are. I'm sure you can. There's one neighbor next to me that does paint and body for a living, and I told him don't get closer than 5 to 10 feet. And
Man,
he was like,
but for a 3D printed body, like I can see your reflection off the hood and not see any layer lines. So like the
yeah,
amount of time spent in finishing that, I
yeah,
don't have that patience. So props to you.
yeah. No, the one dude came up and he said that he didn't think it was that as neat as it was because he thought it was just like sand. But
Yeah,
I'll take that as a compliment.
yeah, for sure.
But it turned out good. I like it.
Yep.
Um,
So you've had that project going, and I've had this project going.
that's
For
quite the
those
burden.
for those that aren't following along with the Harley Designs videos, this is the Jimmy's 4x4 build along with Harley Designs. Josh designed this cage and all the fixtures and jigs and everything to go with it. And I have cut and bent and brazed all these tubes, and it's going together very well. I have the driver sitting in there. I have a dash in it. I have a rear axle mocked up in it with some links that are not exactly the lengths that Josh gave to me because I didn't have exactly that, but they're fairly close. The rear caster angle is basically vertical, but the like servo mounts like way up in the sky. But what I ran into today, unfortunately, is this brace piece on the bottom of the chassis is what this badass scale motor is getting bolted to. But when I built this chassis, there's not a fixture or a jig to place that. And so when I printed the motor and I went to put it in there, it was like a 1/4 inch. This brace is like a 1/4 inch too far forward in the chassis. So I had to get it out of there earlier today. So I had to heat it up and pop it out of there and then re-braze it back in the proper location. And then I just put this Holmes revolver motor in here, this 1800 kV revolver, and it doesn't fit with the motor, unfortunately. So I'm going to have to order a different motor, I think, a different electric motor to fit under my fake engine. Or I may come in the backside of here and just cut out a slot. What it is the end bell has a nub on it.
Okay. Is that a bearing?
And that, well, no, it's just where the set screw is to hold the bell onto the motor.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah. But it hits inside here, so I'll have to just make a channel inside there, basically. And then this fuel cell goes on the side of it, all down in the chassis. I had it all in there earlier, but I just put this motor in there about 5 minutes before the stream, and went to put the Ecotech back in, and went fart. But it's got a turbo and a really cool valve cover and intake manifold. I resin printed it, so like it's super smooth and super detailed. So I've got to go through and like paint and do that crap.
Hey, you're gonna be doing what I've been doing.
Yeah. I can probably make a quick mod of the block for that. That'd be cool. Basically just hollow out that whole big section where that end bell would go. Is all it would need to be. Williams Lake Scale Off Road, thank you very much. Love your products. Just picked up a high-low. Has TRX4 axles with in-the-works links. Order a 4-wheel steer Capra and plan on building a Chopra. How far off would you expect the links to be? They're probably not going to be that close. TRX4 axles and Capra axles link geometry is way different. So I would probably just order a hardcore RC link kit for it. But I would order it now because it's going to take like 3 to 4 weeks to get it shipped.
If
Um,
you have a Traxxas kit, or would the AR-44 be close enough?
no, he's got Hardcore has link kits for Capra axles, TRX4, or
Oh,
AR-44
okay.
axles. So just order the proper link set. It'll save you a bunch of time and jerking around trying to
Yeah,
get it where you want it.
yeah, because I mean, for his prices, I don't think I'm ever making links again.
No,
His
and
prices are
if
so reasonable.
if you have link lengths, if you know the length you need already, um, Vanquish sells titanium links in pairs, and they're dirt cheap, especially for being in a pair.
Right.
Deluxe sells links also singularly, but they're like twice the price as Vanquish's pairs. So, just throwing that out there.
Is there any same material, or is there?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Poll question: whose is cooler? Whose build is cooler? Well, his is actually finished and running and driving and abused, so I would have to say his is cooler right now. However, I think both of us can agree that these two builds that are in front of us are probably the most fun builds that you and I have had in probably 5 or 6 years.
I think a while, yeah. This has pushed multiple areas of the hobby that I had zero experience in.
Yep.
Even down to like the roof rack, cutting out the glass. Um, I put automotive grade tint. Oh, by the way, I had someone show me at the event there is pre-tinted Lexan sheets you can buy. Go figure. But I have like 6 feet of automotive tint over here behind me, so oh
Yeah.
well. But yeah, everything. And then again, thanks to Josh, I got the headlight lenses, man. I ended up
Yep.
doing a epoxy resin in the rear. It's mainly a time thing. I got another set. I'm gonna try to put those lenses on, but at the time, I just had to do the front.
Yeah. Um, is it an LS motor? Needs a K series? No, it is an Ecotech. It is a Harley Designs Ecotech.
That thing's ridiculous from scratch. Other than the what do you say, the manifolds? He put another cylinder
No,
on.
the like the valve cover. The valve cover, I think he modeled off or had a model of. But I mean, everything else, he's trying to work around a giant revolver that's not supposed to fit inside there. The turbo isn't in a normal location, but it's in a very good location to hide the bulge. And then the fuel cell hides the other side of the bulge, so it masks a lot of things. And he's even got like a front pulley,
That's
a
cool.
crank pulley. I don't have the oil pan on it right now. I broke the oil pan getting it off the printer, so we got to redo that. What's up, guys? Glad you're back. We're glad you're back. We're glad that you guys all checked back in with us after like 3 week hiatus.
Harley
What
Harley
shocks
City.
on the buggy?
Oh
These
yeah.
shocks are the cheapest Amazon junk shocks you can get. Um, I'm going to try to run them. I took the piston out and I drilled two 1/64th holes in the pistons, and I cut the stock spring in 3 pieces, and I put a short piece above the piston and a longer piece below the piston. So like it has compression, and it still is like it still has a rebound basically,
Yeah.
but it still has compression too. I also added an extra O-ring in the bottom cap to try to keep some oil in them, but it's not working. They're leaking like a sieve.
That was my only thing. I was like, I wonder if those hold oil good.
They don't.
Um,
So I've got a set of axial base camp shocks that are similar-ish in collapsed length. They're way longer extended length, so I'm going to put some fuel tubing inside of them to shorten the extended length. And I may try putting a tiny spring above the piston, but I haven't decided yet. It's all going to depend on how much I hate these shocks when I run it.
Man,
these shocks aren't leaking.
To be honest, you should have recorded the little shock mods for the Amazon ones you did, because people would be interested in seeing that process. Unless you were just kind of winging it.
I was winging it, but it is something I can easily recreate because I remember what I did.
Yeah.
Like, the pistons are solid. There's no holes in the pistons at all. So, like, it's just a friction type shock to begin with. So it's not meant to hold oil at all. And then the two O-rings in the bottom of the cap, like, you'd pull the bottom cap off of it, and there's no, like, snap ring or E-clip or anything inside there to keep tension on the O-rings. So they just leak.
Gotcha. Yeah. Did you look into those shocks that Josh and Matt are running?
Yeah,
they're pretty fancy, boy.
They're pricey. They're pricey.
Yeah, I wonder if everyone else is going that route, or is there a batch buy-in for that, or was that just?
I don't know. I haven't looked into it that much. I know that there's going to be at least a handful of people that end up getting those same shocks. And I might end up going that route eventually anyway, but I wanted the orange. I was hoping that the orange would match the orange Method 101s I have, but it's so far off that I'm not going to be able to run them and be able to look at it. You know what I mean? Like,
oh yeah.
like, that's just not.
Orange, but it's pretty orange, but I don't think Josh would approve.
No, they match the gold rotors from Hibby.
Oh, nice.
But yeah, no, he modeled everything from scratch. Just used photos and tried to make the valve cover realistic. Well, you did a damn good job on the valve cover, that's for sure. He even put, like, the hatch marks and stuff in the side of the block. It's gonna be real hard to show, but you can kind of see, like, the cross bracing in the casting. What about flipping the shocks upside down? Then they don't run them like that in 1-to-1, so I can't do that.
It's funny, my Land Cruiser, that's how those shocks are mounted.
Yeah.
Body down. But not in micros.
Yeah. Were you still thinking about cutting skids for the buggy? Yes, absolutely. The skid design isn't finalized yet, though, so I don't want to spend a bunch of time modeling and machining a skid, especially a batch of skids, that ends up needing modified. Prices isn't even taking orders until May 7th. Yeah, I know. But I just don't know how many. I don't know how many people in the group are going to get in. Maybe if 25 people end up ordering the same shocks from him, he can kind of do a bulk just batch of making them all exactly the same in one night or 2 nights or however long it takes him. Make it easy. Just everybody's shocks are the same, minus maybe colors or whatever. I hope I can finalize the skid this week. Good. I mean, you're kind of running out of time. This has to be done in a month.
I think Josh is good at the last second stuff, because I was biting my nails waiting for these lens covers. But
realistically, though,
on his defense, it was our mailing system we have here. So
yeah. I mean, realistically, though, there's so much that's done that, I mean, if I put a front axle in this and drive shafts in it and servos in it, I could drive it as is. I take that back. I'd have to make a some modifications to the top shaft. I made a placeholder top shaft out of the back of this VFD twin. You can see the front of the shaft. That's where it normally came out the front of the trans, but I drilled a hole in the back cap of the trans to bring the top shaft out the back to get it back here. Basically, all I'd have to do now is cross drill for the spur carrier to keep the spur gear where it needs to be, and then a little bearing plate to keep this bearing in the motor plate. But I mean, it wouldn't take a whole lot to be able to make it drive, but it wouldn't be finished.
Right.
I'm curious to see, and I'm anxious to see, you know, like the passenger side interior. It's like on the dash. There's a couple of holes on the dash right back here that other pieces of interior will bolt to, and there's other holes in this back bulkhead right along the edge that you can bolt things into. So I'm curious to see what he comes up with as far as interior.
Well, what he's got already looks pretty awesome.
Yeah. Like I said, this is the most fun I've had building a truck in a really, really, really long time. The only thing that I have not enjoyed about this process is all of the freaking 3D printing that has added up to about 86 hours of 3D printing on an Ender 3. $86 hours of 3D printing. Things that are just like one-time use.
Did they warp real bad, or?
I mean, no, not really. Like,
So you
was
build a second cage, is what you're saying. That's what I'm hearing.
I torch brazed this cage in the jigs, so there is melting on the jigs. But I was also very cautious about flame direction, trying to keep the torch, aimed away from the plastic and get in and out of there as quick as I can and cool the chassis back off as quick as I can. So, like, there's a couple of places where, like this spot right here in particular, the actual fixture is melted to the point where a tube wouldn't sit nicely back in where it's supposed to go. Like, it's at a different angle. Right. But I was notching all this tubing with a chainsaw file. I could take that chainsaw file and just run it back through here where the tube's supposed to sit and clear out that melted spot and reuse these if I wanted to. So, I mean, really, I really could fix it to make them usable again, but probably not a third time. Do you want to talk about, before we potentially have a guest here, because you were talking about him potentially being on here pretty quick.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about the small batch?
We could, yeah, because that might eat up some time. Does it give you a notification when he jumps in the lobby?
Yeah.
Okay.
Williams Lake Scale Off-Road, thank you again. Stainless versus titanium on chopper link kit. I don't personally think there's that much of a difference. It's just kind of how bougie you want to be. If you want titanium, go titanium. I've only ever ran stainless except on my frontline build. The rear links are Vanquish titanium because Vanquish sells titanium. But otherwise, everything else of mine has always had stainless. And I've never had an issue.
So, real quick, so there is Super Shafty also this weekend.
Super Shafty Spring Shootout.
Our team driver, Zach Cantrell, has a kind of a special frame that he actually placed first in C1 in. Um, so with that said, I'll kind of announce this month's drop in a couple days. It's gonna be some kind of fancy sauce gold C1 mullets, which is the frame he had on his truck.
Which is a
Um,
frame we haven't officially publicly offered. There
yeah,
are Class 1 mullets out in the world, but only to people who knew they existed and knew to ask about them.
there's a couple, primarily team drivers, maybe one or two, like he said, the people that asked. But so being that this has to have a panhard, I wanted to do something kind of special rather than just a gaudy piece of aluminum. So I went kind of fancy boy on there and we got some titanium action going on the front panhard and the rear shock hoops. Now you're probably not gonna get like, it's so hard to get like, I don't know if it'll focus on that or not, but I think it's kind of garbage how
Yeah, cover your ugly face.
yeah, sorry, I'm like breaking it up. But yeah, so we got the gold anodized C1 mullet. This will be a kit too. We'll have the DSM mini skid, a rear brace, titanium shock tabs, and titanium panhard. Kind of bougie. This is probably the nicest kit yet, I would have to say, especially for something we haven't released to the public. So
Yeah.
I'll have 10 sets of these. That's as many as I had time to like put together with everything else I had going on. So probably don't want to be sleeping on the drop. I think we'll do the first at 6 o'clock again, if that works for you.
Yep.
So, I'll be posting pics probably the day of. That way, you can get better than like a phone video. Look at this, because the video don't really do it any justice.
Right.
But do we have a guest in our lobby yet? Do you
Nope,
know?
not yet. Zach is in the chat though. Exact setup I ran this weekend. Love it. Congratulations, Zach, on Class 1 and Class 3 wins at Super Shafty.
Yeah, dude.
I didn't look to see how you placed in your other classes. I know in Class 2 I had looked at one point and you were like just outside the top 5 if I remember right. But congratulations on those 2 wins. That's awesome.
Driving the wheels off that thing, dude.
Yeah. What wheelbase on a Chopra? I mean, probably like 12.8, 13, somewhere in there, probably.
There's a few guys. Well, wait, Jake's in here. Isn't Jake running some crazy wheelbase, like 13 and a half or something?
Yeah. I don't know what Jake. Yeah, he's
That's-
got a long wheelbase, but
I think there's also a
seventh.
couple Hawaiian people that have that.
Yeah.
Or a Hawaiian.
Seventh in Class 2. That's still very respectable for the list of people that were competing. That is a very respectable finish. I put the engine in.
Did you groove that, or you take the motor out? Oh, you took the motor.
I took the motor out. So the valve covers on it, the intake manifolds on it, the fuel cells on there, and then on the other side, the turbo. I have the turbo manifold, the exhaust manifold printed. It's not. It failed mid-print, so it doesn't quite fit. I thought about just putting it on, even though it's not quite right, but I figured, you know what, I'm just going to reprint it. I'm just going to do it right. Yes, Tom's wife took first in Class 2 Diva with her hardline. Zach was 8th in Sporty, 13th 2.2 Pro, like 24th in Mini, broke the trans. The deluxe slider that was in the Mini, you broke it? That header was a bitch.
Showing off at this point.
Yeah. Yeah, so like basically the flange failed. You can see right through it. It popped off of the build plate, so it's like a 1/8 inch off of the block. If I put it on the turbo like it would sit, it's probably an 1/8 inch off of the block. So, and you can't really flex resin prints; they just shatter. My chopper is 13.5, running the 2.2 Hyrax LPs. I liked the Hyrax LPs. I like the height of those tires. What's a little extra print time with all the rest of the print time for the buggy? Well, so that's why I decided to print this in resin, because like the resin printer is like a bazillion times faster than an FDM printer, and you can print the entire print bed in the same amount of time as you can print one item. The only thing that changes the time on a resin printer is the height of the part, where like an FDM printer, the more stuff you have on the build plate, the longer it takes. Because the resin printer can expose the resin on the entire build plate at one time. You can make a solid block as tall as you want it, and the only thing that affects the time that it takes to print is the height. So, like, I think I have 2.5 hours in this entire motor with resin printing, where it was like a 12-hour print on the ender.
Yeah.
Ended up throwing a blind side together last minute. Stripped the little gear inside a new OD3, thinking it might have been a defect on the shaft. Huh. What's up, fellow moon buggy builder? What's up? I'm having fun keeping up with the Discord group too. Everybody's builds in there. There's a couple of guys in there that are really, really moving along really fast. Basically, like the minute Josh has something put up there, they're already done with it. I'm like, I'll wake up in the morning on like a Sunday morning, and I'll see that Josh posted something in there at 3 a.m. my time, and there's already guys that are done with what he posted at 3 a.m. my time. Like, the heck? Like, do you people sleep?
It's a build along, not build at your leisure.
Yeah. I am curious, though. Josh said that he's going to put kind of a time, like a date deadline on finished builds, and we'll like laser engrave a VIN or serial number for you. And he's going to go off of, I think he said he's going to go off of your order number on his website, like the order you joined the build off in.
That's cool.
And I know that I was cashed out on his website within like 1 minute or a minute and a half of it going live. So I'm curious what my VIN will be.
007.
That'd be cool. That'd be really cool. I need to order another F10 portal steering axle. I think I'm going to keep plastic axles on it for now, and then eventually switch to aluminum housings, maybe. I don't know. I haven't decided. But I need to order another. I could rob the front axle out of my Class 1 truck, but I need another behind the axle servo mount too. So if I'm going to be placing an order for that, I might as well just order an axle. I don't know.
Matt's already robbing his Porsche for parts.
Yeah. Speaking of Class 1 truck, my Class 1 truck is still for sale if anybody's interested. It is at the lowest price that I will sell it for. So if it does not sell for this price, it's going on the shelf. I don't care. I've got it listed at $1,000. I added up new retail. New retail on everything, if you had to buy it new, is like $1,900. Just the body's $350. So if it sells, it sells. If it doesn't, it'll go back on the shelf. I did take it out and drive it on Friday, run some gates. So it still operates just like it should.
Let's say drive like you remember.
Yep, just like I remembered. Still don't have a notification from the guest here, so I think we'll just keep rocking. We were only planning on doing about an hour tonight. If it ends up going longer, fine. But I think we kind of tried to cram a bunch of stuff in before our guest got here, and he may not show up.
Yeah, like I was telling you, it rained Saturday night, and his main camping transportation was a 2-wheel drive, like probably been a Dodge van. It was one of those big, like not a ProMaster, but I don't know what brand it was. It had a bunch of awnings and stuff around it, but it was 2-wheel drive.
Yeah.
I didn't see too many 2-wheel drive vans getting out of that place when I was leaving, so I think he left it until today. So he may still be out there, and there is no service.
Yeah.
The only reason I had service was because I was mooching off of Gary from 110 Scale. He brought his Starlink out.
That's the only way to go, man.
So I had service by our booth. So that was kind of nice. It was actually really nice. And I told him next year he should offer it to people for like $10 for the weekend, because I still think that would be a deal for some internet that everyone craves.
Do you want to know how much internet is at King of the Hammers for like 13 days?
Yeah, let's hear it.
It's like $2,000.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say $200, and I was like, ah, man, that's not terrible. $2,000.
No. So everybody started buying Starlinks and
Yeah.
bringing their own shit because it was getting silly to buy internet.
I think he was saying you can buy for like the month or two or something like that. You can buy it monthly, but
you could turn it on for 1 month and then you just turn it back off, turn the service back off. So like when we go to Hammers, you turn it on for the month of February and then you turn it back off. And then we go race in Kentucky, you turn it on for the month that the race is in Kentucky, and you know, whatever. So realistically, you pay for five or 6 months out of the year. Costs you $750 a year for the fastest internet you can get in the hollers.
Yeah, I think he was saying it was like $124 or something a month for him, which I'm like, that's pretty reasonable, considering some of the options around here.
Yeah.
Internet's not cheap over here.
No. Hoping to start mine this week. I'm buttoning up my ATL V2 Class 3 tonight. If I get the buggy done for the VIN, I'm going to be right in your neighborhood. I wasn't messing around under a minute. Yeah, I mean, I clicked refresh right at the minute that it should have come live, and I had all my information's already saved in my phone, so I literally just cashed out immediately. So, does it come with a warranty and podium guarantee if purchased? Only if it's purchased in person and you're the only one on course.
You're competing against yourself.
I will say, this Class 1 truck, I have driven this truck harder than I have driven any of my Class 1 trucks ever, and I have yet to break a single thing. I haven't even broken an axle shaft or a portal gear or anything in this Class 1 truck yet. My last Class 1 truck with the AR-45 portals lasted about 2 minutes before I broke a knuckle and C-hub and axle housing and the portal gear all at the same time. Tim, what's up? Glad to see you in here. Has Tim seen your latest build? He's a Toyota guy.
Yeah, he'll like this V8 in the real ones. I don't know. I haven't seen him on our fan page in a minute. Or wait, no, I did. I think I saw him this weekend. Bring the thing back up.
How hard is it to get the body off?
Takes like 20 seconds. So I have a thumb screw for the back and it just pivots up. And then there's two. I'm gonna design something a little more easier for the front because it's not the best to put on, but it's not terrible. Pop this off though.
Tim said he had to double check what page he was on when he saw the pics you posted of it.
You thought he was on the Lexus Starbucks run page. On the trail, I was like, man, there ain't no Starbucks out here.
I was just more curious about seeing the packaging underneath the body than anything else.
Yeah, it's very packaged, you could say. And I do have said, I am finding like the limitations of steering under. Okay, so there's like these brass stoppers in this slide. And those keep coming loose on me. I tightened those up like 2 times this weekend. I don't think the truck weight. So stuff that's gonna wear out easy is gonna be due to like weight and like tire size. Tires should not be an issue. I haven't weighed it. I don't think it's above 7 pounds. Because everything else is super light. It's just the body, I think, is probably 1.5 pounds. But I bet you this is probably, I don't know, 3. I mean, it's not like this isn't a heavy truck, so I think there's something with those brass. It threads into the aluminum plate. I might need like some light duty thread locker or something. You can kind of see my creativity with that main tie rod. I haven't studied it enough to see if I lose any torque with that, but on the other hand, I do have 1,000 ounces, so I don't think.
Yeah,
I don't
don't think it's that critical.
Yeah, because it's such a small movement. It's really you don't really move the servo too much, or like the servo horn doesn't actually have to move too much to get full throw. I do have the Yogi 3 in there, which because I'm running a portal rear, I'm not even using the underdrive output on that. I was showing some guys at the event, the kind of hack with this is the output from the IFS2 is the same direction as a 2-gear portal, so no need for reverse gears or anything like that. You just throw the portal in there. And that helps out a lot, especially with these little tires. These are 3.8s or 8.3s or something like that. So they're pretty small. So yeah, that rear portal's kind of needed. No, this is a pretty slick little rig. I got a couple things I think I'll update, make beefier, and maybe run a small batch. I've had a couple people ask. I mean, I don't know if a small run might be worth it. But I was hoping to kind of iron out some of the kinks before I offer it to people. But really, there wasn't too many this weekend, so that's kind of a plus. So, I don't know. It's a cool truck. I'd recommend.
Yeah, definitely.
The turning's a little bit lackluster. It's IFS. I don't know if it's a like competition platform more than just like a scale.
Have fun, goof off platform.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's cool. Maybe I should hook it up to that other overdrive output and give it.
Just to see.
It'll turn pretty good on like 50% overdrive.
Probably.
Just don't go on a side hill.
Right.
Look like I have the parking brake on, which is probably a Lexus owner thing.
So here's the dash out of the buggy. You can see there's some gauge places where gauges and stuff would be. And then you see the couple of holes for other things to mount to it. And then the shifters on the VFD twin go through that hole in the center.
Yeah, no, I saw the shifters and I was like, man, that's a nice touch.
Yeah. The Vanquish shifters are nice. I don't have it installed on here right this second, and if I'm honest, I might have lost it. No, it's over there. Never mind. I know where the shifters are. I thought I might have lost them for a second there.
I said I could draw something up and we can do like, is there just 2 shifters on the factory one? We can do like the Toyota style, do like the triple shift.
Do six shifters like all the Toyota nerds.
Yeah.
Getting the screws in the dash is kind of a thing.
I think Williams, I think that 13-inch wheelbase, I think that'll be nice with the capper axles. I think that's a good call.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the last one I built was like 12.75, and I think I wanted it just a little bit longer than it ended up being. But that was like 2 years ago, so I don't really remember exactly what it was. Come on. I took it apart, now I'm trying to put it back together, and I can't get it back together. Prove what?
He just wants to catch you getting up and see.
He wants me to get up out of my chair to go get the shifters.
It's a Red Bull kind of evening, fellas. I
don't even have anything to drink over here right now.
So it rained at that crawl fest, and my rain fly didn't really work as well as I wanted it to. So my nice sleeping bag, which fits in this cool carry bag, did not fit because it weighed about 20 pounds and it was drizzling water.
That's good.
Granted, I didn't use it as a sleeping bag. I put it over my memory foam mattress, so like the corners of it were just tucked under the mattress. Because it was like, I don't know, mid-60s. I have like a light blanket that I just fall asleep like a baby on that.
Yeah.
So when I got home, I immediately unpacked everything. I've been draping it over stuff, drying it out. So that's been a process because I'm leaving this Thursday to go to Toyota Lone Star Jamboree in Gilmer, which Tim should go to since he's got that Tundra.
So you gotta get all your overlanding stuff dried up. So you go to nerd with your overlanders.
I would say I'm not in the overlander thing. I just have a ground tent, which is to that community. So my packing primarily consists of some beer, a ground tent, and some cooking stuff.
Yeah.
I pack pretty light. Sometimes it bites me. Most of the time I'm fine.
Yeah, I try not to take anything I don't need.
This weekend, or this past weekend, I was kind of lacking on the ice. I put all my drinks in a soft cooler. They're not too cold for 4 days, so.
That's why I love that 12-volt cooler, man. 12-volt coolers are where it's at.
Gonna have to bite the bullet. There's a company, I don't know if it's EcoFlow, but they're doing like a startup, or what's that? They're doing a pre-sale for a fridge that has a portable power block you put in the bottom of it, and it lasts like 72 hours or something like that on that one um, portable power block, what they got the technical term, but I think that's
Yeah.
pretty smart because like I've wired in like some trucks to fit fridges, and they want the fridge to be powered off an auxiliary battery, and then they have the solar panel to charge and the controller and all that. But now you can just have a fridge, charge it up in your house, and roll out. You don't have to have a bunch of crap with you. I think that's
Yeah.
kind of convenient.
Yeah, when I went to Axial Fest last year, when I
Kickstarter.
yeah,
Jim's saving me.
when I had it in the back of the Jeep, it was plugged in 12 volt, but it also came with a 110 plug also. So
Yeah.
when I was at my camper, I would just pull it out of the back of the Jeep, throw it on the ground outside the camper, and plug it into the camper.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
no, if
it was on.
you're good to go with the camper stuff.
Yeah. Jesse said, "What's up, guys? Just joined. What's on the tables?" All kinds of fun stuff. These are Wesley and I's latest enjoyments in the hobby.
Yeah.
I'm
I don't even
doing
know
the.
I don't even know what I'd call this thing. The best frame.
I'm doing the Harley Designs Moon Buggy Build Along series. And I am going to be building another one of these so that I can actually do one that's hopefully nicer and do some video and things. I'm learning a lot on this, so I've got another Send Cut Send stainless. Wow, that's blown out. Stainless laser cut parts tree of all the laser components. Actually, I have two sets of those. And then Wesley also has the next small batch release.
Yeah. The next C1 mullet. It's flat skid, so nobody really has it. So I'm kind of thinking I should have did like 20 sets, not 10. I have a feeling this is gonna go fast.
I guess we'll find out on Wednesday, huh?
Yeah. But on the other end of that, man, the titanium stuff takes a minute.
Yeah.
It's not too cheap, and it takes a minute to get this. I took some like real nice pictures of the hoops. I could see nothing.
Got to
But
cover your face.
yeah, sorry guys, I'm ugly.
Salt Pond, thank you. Moon Buggy looks great. And same thank you also. Looking forward to those build videos to come. Yeah, like I said, I need to build another one so that I can actually do that, because there was enough learning going on here that I didn't want to try to video the learning. I want to try to video the building. So, Matt's Leaf for you made him is going to be cool too. Now, just for clarity, I didn't make that. That's one of Wesley's designs. I just have a local person here that had time to laser cut one in the time frame that we needed to get one to Matt.
Yeah.
So while yes, I did organize and ship, that's not a me project at all.
It took some file alterations, but for the most part.
Yeah, I did have to modify the file just a little bit, but otherwise I just connected the dots with getting it to him is all.
Yeah, I wish I had a bit more of a heads up because I'd like to. It'd have been cool to custom, like the one he has is pretty much right off the shelf. It'd have been cool to like do something super custom for what he's trying to do. but it's looking pretty sweet from the pictures I've seen.
It's just the time frame that he needed to get it done in.
Something about Matt and Josh, just time is never on their side.
Yeah. Question for the experts. You are in the wrong place. Just installed a servo winch using a modified stock servo with a spool on it. Using auxiliary 1 and set to 3 position setting. How do you prevent servo creep on power up?
It's the what radio you're using.
Yeah, if you cannot adjust that out of the radio itself,
That's
I
where
don't know what to tell you.
Man, I haven't programmed a winch in a minute. Yeah, it's gonna depend on what
Yeah.
radio you have. I only know Spectrum
My
stuff
Holmes,
because I'm Simpleton.
my Holmes radios, my Holmes ESC servos, Holmes servo winches, like the fast ones with TGH, I've had issues with those creeping when they get warm, but you can adjust the trim in the radio and get that out of it. But yeah, without knowing what radio, and DX4 Pro, having to play with sub trim up and down.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
You might have to max them out.
I have no idea.
Yeah, if you're familiar with the sub trim, you should be able to tune that out.
Yeah.
Or whoever did you say what winch it is? There might be some trick to it. Maybe message or email that
Well, he's using modifying a stock servo to be a winch.
Okay.
About Axial Fest Badlands, all the hookup sites are booked. I'm hoping I can borrow my in-laws' generator. Yeah, that's one of the bad parts is, like, man, if you're going to an event like that, that's a multi-day event, and you're going to need to charge batteries. If you're not staying in a hotel or have a hookup site, it's kind of a pain in the ass. But you will still have micro creep regardless. Well, like my Holmes TGH winches, micro creep is a lot of creep because fast gears and 4S. Some servos can program the deadband. Yeah, I've never had to mess with it more than just sub trim. So
yeah. I feel like a 95-year-old man whenever I start messing with the radios. And also, I look like a 95-year-old man because I have an old radio from like 2010. It still goes, though. It's not rugged, but it's been underwater at some point.
it's been rugged enough.
Pretty good. They made them pretty good.
Yeah.
Sold girl.
So, well, I don't think we're going to get a guest in here tonight. And we're about a minute away from an hour-long show here tonight. So if you guys have questions, shoot them in real quick. If not, we probably will not be on next week because you will have been gone to an event and probably busy when you get back. Maybe.
Yeah,
we'll see.
It's two options. I can catch up on orders Monday night, or we can get by for an hour.
Yeah.
I kind of want to get Jose on. So I think he's pretty busy today, trying to get his truck out of a mud pit, probably. But we'll have to get him on for one of these next episodes so we can kind of explain, because Crawfest was pretty large this year. I'm not too sure how many other events have been that big, because I was actually kind of stunned by the amount of people I saw there.
Yeah. Jesse asked how your custom body is coming. It's done-ish, except the interior.
Yeah.
It got in a T-bone. It got in a T-bone accident on the trail.
Yeah,
it wasn't on the trail. It was in the show and shine.
I got into a hit and run. Yeah, I want to do an interior, and I got to do the back. I didn't do too many shots from the rear because I didn't do any badging, so a little bit of a stickler on it. But honestly, no one probably cares, but I do.
Yeah.
But it has some scratches. It's kind of cool. It's still cool. But anywho, later this week, see one mullet small drop. Jump on that. Also, I have leaf spring mounts also, but I'm also gonna wait till towards the end of the week. That way, I can focus on packing for my trip this weekend and not packaging or answering emails while my leaf springs haven't shipped out.
Yeah.
So mid to the end of the week. Well, we'll just say on the first, we'll drop all that stuff.
Yep. So, all right. Well, we're going to get out of here for the night. Thanks, everybody, for checking in. We might be back next Monday. We'll see how the week goes.
I could agree. But
Cool.
cool. Now I can eat dinner. Cool. Thanks,
Alrighty.
guys, for tuning in.
Later.